Agriculture contributes about 9.5% of our gross state product. 1 in 7 working Texans are employed in some form of agriculture, and that excites me because I know that our state's farmers and ranchers do a tremendous job. You know something about agriculture in Hopkins County, don't you? Agricultural cash receipts for agriculture in Hopkins County total $57 million. That's $57 million of jobs, of capital investment, and food security for our state and our nation. I tell you though, folks, unfortunately, Dwight David Eisenhower understood the importance of agriculture, but I'm not too sure that our current president understands it because of the policies that he's advocating that will drive production agriculture outside the borders of the United States of America. I know Congressman Hall and I talked about fighting against the cap and trade bill last week, and I'll tell you that's rightfully named cap and trade because if it's passed, it's going to cap economic activity, it will cap our productivity, and it will trade American jobs overseas. Yeah. That's just one of the many initiatives that are on the table today. There is a bill that is asking to expand the Clean Water Act regulatory authority to give them the authority over the stock tanks on your farm and ranch. You think you need the federal government to come down and do that? I never thought I'd stand before you tonight and say thank you to the great state of Massachusetts for putting on the brakes. I have never seen such an overreaching federal government with a big appetite. And our national debt is a frightening thing, and if it wasn't bad enough, the Democrats in Congress voted to extend and raise the debt ceiling not too long ago. And just a week or two ago, I think it was, and it is a frightening thing. And I'll tell you how much money that is. Y'all will have your checkbooks tonight, don't you? Our national debt is so big, it takes every last person in Hopkins County to write a check for $800 million. Now, I know some of you have that because I've seen you here tonight. Just laying around in a cookie jar, right? I tell you, that is a frightening thing. The election of Scott Brown, I really believe, was the single biggest factor, the single biggest victory for freedom since the Boston Tea Party. There's just no doubt about it. And there's one thing about the Tea Party, folks. It reminds all Americans that your government belongs to you.
And that are willing to put your name in there and do the miles and take sometimes the abuse and the criticism, but you're willing to be out there to say that I want to give back too. And the obligation is not to win because not everybody wins elections. The obligation is to be willing to serve. You do your best, and that's our system. And as Commissioner Staples said, whoever wins these primary races, we get behind them because there's a lot at stake. There's a House of Representatives. The Texas House is 77 Republicans. Redistricting is coming up, and I can tell you for this area that's critical because a lot of the battles we have are urban-rural, and you need someone like me and others that are going to represent the rural areas. But we have a budget to deal with. We're going to have a shortfall. In 2003, when Senator Staples sat next to me, we had a $10 billion deficit. Our choice was to raise taxes, increase spending, or to make painful cuts. We made those cuts. We spent less general revenue. We did that in the last session. The result of that is that we have $8 billion in the bank. We spent less general revenue. We did what Washington ought to do, and I'm very, very proud of that.
And I don't know what I think for presidents that can't call a terrorist a terrorist. Isn't that's just sick, isn't it? And don't know where they belong down there in Guantanamo, where they've been. And they ought to be there. We don't need them in New York. Give them a fair trial. I'm willing to give them a trial. Yes. By God. And for all these that would bomb and fly into our building, our airplanes with our people and kill our folks, murder our folks, they don't have any constitutional rights. I tap the phone to every one of them as quick as they hit this ground. We got to start putting this country first. You know, there's a great president one time had a Monroe doctrine. It said, hands off this hemisphere. I say hands on this hemisphere. Let's make those people that have gone offshore to get cheap labor or deal with China somewhere, let's make them come back, hands on America, and let us quit giving them the tax breaks they get for leaving us. Those are some of the things that we can do. We have to get the think, I have to say a word or so about all those good people that came to D.C. when we had the million. And
Don't know me, I am Trey Hinton, and I'm running for Commissioner of Precinct 2. I'll tell you just a little bit about my background. I was born and raised out on a small dairy out in Riley Springs. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and I graduated from Silver Springs High School in 1995. After graduation, I attended Northeast Texas Community College and studied dairy science.
This is what's fueled my passion to decide to run for Hopkins County Judge. It hopes to instill a new energy here in Hopkins County. Now, stewardship is a word that means effectively and efficiently to manage the resources. Now, I begin to understand stewardship in the works and relations with my church, and what I've learned, and it goes far beyond just money. It extends to the time and the resources. Now, county government doesn't typically operate under this philosophy. They are pretty well designed to spend it or lose it, and I want you to know that I know what it's like to either save that money or not spend that money or not eat.
Financial discipline to serve you by setting an example of leadership, accountability, financial discipline, and security performance throughout the county government. I am with good reason optimistic about our future. Growth is a product of success, and success is a product of vision. I have vision. Thank you.
In our health care, trying to our medical profession, and it's under attack by what's printed on this corner. If you pick one up, it'll say Made in China. And my campaign is about that. It's about putting jobs back in the hands of Northeast Texans. It's about making it here, producing it here, and shipping it somewhere else. See, Northeast Texas has some special things that are not anywhere else. We've got I-30, especially if you live in Hopkins County. You've got the Blackland Railroad. You have the Kansas City Southern. You've got a technical school. You've got a great high school and public education.
What big government can give you is only what it takes from someone else. Now, to ensure that we go in the right direction, we need a strong, proven conservative who will not, and has shown that he will not, give sway to the prevailing political winds. I'm that conservative. Folks, I'm running for office for a lot of reasons. One of them is to stem this incredible liberal tidal wave that's trying to come and take over our state and our rights and our wallets. We need a conservative to stem that tide. We need to foster an empowerment mentality and not an entitlement mentality. My 12-year-old daughter came to me the other day. She said, "Dad, I'm upset." And I said, "What's the matter, darling?" And she said, "Yesterday my teacher gave me an assignment. I stayed up last night late to finish it because I wanted a good grade." And I said, "Well, that's okay, honey. You have to work to be successful." She said, "Well, I turned it in, and some of my classmates came up and they said, 'Well, hey, teacher, we didn't have enough time to finish our project. We need more time. We have to have more time. We're entitled to more time.' And the teacher gave them more time." And my daughter said, "It upset me, Dad." And I said, "Well, honey, I understand. Sometimes life is unfair." And she said, "But that's okay. I figured it out." She said, "I think they're all just a bunch of Democrats."